Cyberpolice exposes hacker group for spreading encryption virus and inflicting $500 million in damage to foreign companies.
Yeah, Clop is from a technical standpoint. I thought it was just the software, but you were yeah, you're saying that it's the gang. It's the gang and the software of the same name.
It's kind of like Facebook. Is it Facebook the company or Facebook the software?
Right. Or like REO Speedwagon, the band, or REO Speedwagon, the album. Right.
I think it's a little different than that. But yes, like
Interesting comparison. Yeah.
they are. So we talk about ransomware as the new corporations, right? The new dark corporations, and they were a $500 million ransomware gang.
And you say that in the past tense because it sounds like a bunch of them got busted in the Ukraine.
So it was a Ukrainian article, but it actually looked like it was mostly South Korean police that did the busting.
Yeah, according to the article, like a multinational effort between the US, Ukraine, and South Korea. So
I have a bit of a legal question around that regarding, let's say that, I don't know, some hacker guys get busted in Ukraine. I mean, extorting US companies or Canadian companies, I mean, North American companies. What's the law there? I mean, can the US government like ask for an extradition to judge and maybe imprison and trial those hackers from other countries? Is that a possibility, or they need to interact with like the Russian or Ukrainian government and say, okay, guys, you need to judge these hackers? It makes sense what I'm asking?
yeah, it does.
Yeah, I think South Korea has an extradition treaty with the US. I don't believe Ukraine does. I think I've always thought of Ukraine as a place where hacking is legal and they don't extradite. But then that may have changed under the recent president and the war on that Russia and Ukraine are currently involved in, the civil war. So I don't know. It could have changed. Obviously, somebody got arrested in Ukraine, or Ukraine just was involved somehow. I expect a lot of these gangs to be in old Soviet bloc countries because the laws are just not enforced there.
Yeah, I believe that it's a lot easier if there is an extradition treaty. And it's very different. I don't know if it's impossible to extradite without an extradition treaty, but it is definitely a lot easier. But again, I do not know if Ukraine has one. But even if they don't, I think I would expect the Ukrainian government itself would be friendly to the US in these things. So even if there isn't, there might be some sort of third party. They'd be willing to work with the US, maybe through South Korea.
I think currently, I mean, there have been past Ukrainian presidents that have been more pro-Russia, and so I don't think they would have worked.
I could see a situation where they extradite to maybe South Korea, and then the moment they step out of anywhere in South Korea, the US nabs them, and both governments are like,
Well, that's sort of what happened with what's that Chinese company where the CFO or the CFO's daughter got nabbed in Canada?
I believe that's Huawei.
Oh,
maybe.
Yeah, Huawei. Yeah.
Huawei.
Anyway, we've covered Clop before. Pretty interesting to see. I'm surprised. Ransomware seems like the type of thing that if the gang's sophisticated, they run almost no chance of getting found out where they physically are. So clearly that wasn't the case here.
Could be that someone snitched.